competitor. One of the things you may notice here that I kind of take for granted, and that is good counterpunch there. There's Joe Louis with the checkered gi on. He is the defending champion at the Internationals this particular year. As I started to say, one of the things I take for granted that you may notice here is that these people do not wear safety equipment. There was no such thing in those days. It was bare knuckles and bare feet. And when bare knuckles hit bare face, something usually gives. Bob Wall, in this case, you can see has some tape over his knuckles. Those are to protect his knuckles, not the guy's face. I wish I knew who this guy was. I really can't remember his name. There's Jerry Smith in the background on the right-hand side with Ray Klingenberg. Steve Sanders in the right-hand corner. This is, believe it or not, Pat Johnson here in the white gi getting ready to fight. Pat Johnson, as you all know, was the fight coordinator for the Karate Kid 1, 2, and 3. Also the fight coordinator for the Ninja Turtle movies. Has made quite a name for himself in the entertainment industry. That's Pat Johnson on the left. Excellent fighter. Had outstanding timing. He's primarily a counter fighter, as you'll see here. That's Mike Stone in the middle there, judging with his hands on his knees. The famous Mike Stone, and Alan Steen with the long the stripes on his pants. Pat Worley on the right-hand corner there. I cannot remember the guy on the right here, who he is. But Pat Johnson, as you saw, as you can see, fought in the heavyweight division. Excellent counter timing. See his different defensive counter left-hand punch there. Excellent timing. As soon as his opponent moved, Pat was on him with that reverse punch to the body, and usually scored with it. Here's Al Tracy again. This tournament was held in the Long Beach Arena. Here we have two excellent fighters. On the right we have Bob Alegria, one of Chuck Norris's black belts. And the guy on the left, I don't remember his name, but he is a Rembukan guy, one of Ron Marchini's guys from the Sacramento area, Stockton area. These two fighters here, I can't really see who they are. The guy facing us is another one of Chuck Norris's black belts. The referee here in the Bermuda shorts is Ron Marchini. The guy on the right, usually placed at the Internationals, I can't remember his name. They used to call him Babyface. That's all I remember him by. But the guy on the right here, fighting right side forward, is one of Chuck Norris's black belts. Here we have Steve Sanders, one of the guys that started the BKF in California, a Kempo fighter, one of Ed Parker's students, fighting from New York City, Louis Delgado, an excellent Shotokan style fighter. We have Louis Delgado on the left, Steve Sanders on the right. Again, Alan Steen refereeing. There's Pat Worley in the white gi. And here we have one of Norris's black belts. That's the same guy as fighting a few minutes ago on the left. And Jim Kelly, also from Enter the Dragon, in the black karate gi. These guys were not just movie stars, they were also legitimate competitors. Have to give them a lot of credit for getting out there and competing, because everyone knew they were in the movies and they were the guys to beat. Kelly scored with a back fist strike there to the face. He also trained with a man by the name of Gordon Dovasola, who Joe Louis trained with in the Hollywood area of California. Again, as you can see, there's no safety equipment on their hands, the head, or their feet. Alan Steen pulling Kelly off. And here we have, with his back to us, Louis Delgado, again, fighting in the internationals, or eliminations. He's from New York City. And that was Bob Wall he was competing with. This is Tom Kelly on the left, a Kempo stylist, and Vic Guerrero, one of Chuck Norris's black belts, on the right. Tom Kelly's quite a big man. And Vic Guerrero, you can see, he's pretty big. There's the Rumbucan guy on the left-hand side. That's one of Ron Marchini's fighters fighting Steve Sanders. And there's Tony Ramos judging in the background there. Here we have Phil Cornyn on the right and Dave Laredo on the left. Dave Laredo is a Kempo man. The right man on the right is a Kaji Kempo man. Both excellent fighters. Phil Cornyn, probably one of the most underrated fighters in the nation at the time. Tom Connor in the black t-shirt refereeing, and in the middle between them, facing us in the white gi, is Jim Trevino from the San Jose area. All well-known legends in the karate field back in those days. There we have Louis Delgado on the right and Bob Wall from Enter the Dragon on the left. Both excellent competitors. Bob Wall on the left is currently managing the heavyweight world kickboxing champion Dennis Alexio. So Bob Wall has maintained his connection with karate throughout the years. Louis Delgado on the right, unfortunately, has passed away this past summer. Very nice defensive drop side kick to the groin by Louis Delgado. Most of these people that were doing film work at the time were considered to be movie people only, but as you can see, they were capable of competing and fighting, and quite good. They didn't get much credit for their fighting ability because they were doing film work. This is Jerry Pennington on the right. And I'm not quite sure who the guy on the left was. Jerry Pennington, also from California. Excellent competitor. Here we have probably one of the most underrated competitors in the nation. In the white gi is a guy by the name of Bob Halliburton, who in fact placed in the internationals 2 or 3 times and won it in his weight division. In the checker gi is fighting Dennis Knackard. He was from the Philadelphia area. Bob Halliburton in the white gi was very smooth, excellent fighter in the heavyweight division. Had a very good defensive side kick. You'll see him catch Dennis Knackard running in on him with that blitzing type punch. You catch him with a defensive side kick and dropped him to his knees here, right there. Here we have Travis Everett in the white gi from Texas and the Mexico area. His fighting style is somewhat unusual. He would hit and run, moved around quite a bit, ducked a lot. Steve Armstrong, or Chris Armstrong, was the guy he's fighting on the right, also a Kempo guy in the black gi. Chris Armstrong. There we have Alegria again, Bob Alegria, fighting the Rimbukan guy, and that is Steve Armstrong from Seattle refereeing that fight. Here we have Jim Bottoms again on the left and Babyface on the right. Ron Marchini as the referee. These tapes were shot, like I said, in 1970 at the International Karate Championships, Long Beach, California. And of course, at that time, there was no such thing as video. I shot these with an 8mm camera as I was running from ring to ring, competing when I had a chance to compete. And as soon as my match was over, I'd grab my camera, run around, and try to take pictures of all these guys. There's Vic Guerrero and Tom Kelly again. Here we are in the with the Rimbukan guy on the left, one of Ron Marchini's students, and one of the toughest heavyweight black belts that I've ever seen fight. There's a guy by the name of Arnold Yakitis on the right. That's Benny the Jet's older brother. Trained in Shotokan and Kempo. That's Al Reyes refereeing there. Also a Kaji Kempo man from the San Francisco Bay Area. Highly regarded official and instructor. As you can see, these guys just come in with those front kicks, didn't care what happened to their toes, just pulled them back and fired those kicks and punches in. Very tough fighters, excellent competitors. Again, you notice that they have nothing to protect anyone on their hands or feet. Front kick, reverse punch, and that hurt. Made contact to the face there. Didn't make much of a big deal out of it like they do today. And this is knuckles on the skin and bone. No equipment. Kaji Kempo instructor Al Reyes in a black uniform refereeing. Pat Burleson down on his knees there behind them with the beard from Texas. Top fighter, highly regarded competitor. Nice round kick to the head. Here we have Harold Gross on the right, one of Chuck Norris's black belts, and one of the few Korean competitors you'll see, Byung Yu on the left, outstanding fighter. And of course the referee there is Chuck Norris. This is probably the middleweight or the lightweight division here. Harold Gross on the right, you will see is a kind of an excitable fighter. When he would score a point, he'd get pretty excited. I fought against him at the U.S. Championship, Team Championships that Mike Stone put on at the Elks Club in Long Beach, California. the year before these tapes were fought, so I knew he was kind of an excitable guy. Excellent fighter also. Both these guys are top fighters, or they wouldn't be fighting in the finals. There's Steve Armstrong right on his knees in the corner. One of the judges from Tacoma, Washington. Highly regarded instructor and official. This is, of course, many years before Chuck Norris became a world-renowned movie star. These are the finals at the International Karate Championship. Those back fist strikes are pretty hard to see. They're pretty quick. As you can see, a lot of these guys use combination techniques, kicks and punch combinations. I might want to clarify that Byung Yu on the left is one of the Korean stylists that fought in open competition. He was a excellent competitor and highly regarded by the black belts in the competition community. He would get out there and do it, and it was quite capable of winning any tournament he ever stepped into. As you can see, Harold's starting to get wound up here. He's getting kind of excited as he scores these points. There's Harold beginning to show his excitement. He would jump up and down, and you can't see him in all these shots here, but he's getting pretty excited. This was probably the top tournament in the country to win at the time. If you were able to win the internationals, you would get a tremendous amount of exposure and rankings out of it as a result. This is Benny the Jet on the right, Benny Yakitas, with Tony Ramos refereeing, fighting Byung Yu on the left. Benny now, of course, is a world champion kickboxer. Hair's a little longer here. Outstanding point fighter as well as full contact fighter. When the Yakitas family came to a tournament, they usually walked away with a hefty portion of the championships. This is Phil Cornyn on the right, fighting Harold Gross. Phil Cornyn was one tough fighter. he would take quite a beating. That's Alan Steen with the black gi top on and white pants refereeing here. Phil Cornyn is a pretty aggressive fighter. As you'll see, he runs in here quite a few times, and Harold Gross was able to just catch him with that defensive side kick, take advantage of Cornyn's aggressiveness, and score with a side kick on him several times. And he caught him with a side kick there. Phil Cornyn on the right, a Kaji Kempo man fighting a Taekwondo stylist, Tang Sudo man on the left. As you can see, Cornyn, like the Kempo fighters in Kaji Kempo, they did a lot of grabbing. They would grab you to control you. As you can see, Cornyn grabs Harold Gross just about every time they clash. You would grab him. See, he was catching him with that side kick. Caught him with the back fist there. Got him with another side kick. Cornyn scored with a back fist. Another side kick by Harold Gross. He was able to score so many times because Cornyn was just aggressive. He'd run right in. So if he came with a double combination, a back fist and a side kick combination, he'd usually score. There he hit him with that back fist. Because Cornyn didn't step back very often, as you can see. Caught him again with a side kick. This is Joe Louis getting ready to defend his title against the heavyweight champion. There's Ed Parker. The late Ed Parker just passed by there. Tapped Joe on the back before Joe went on to defend his title against the heavyweight champion Arnold Yukitis. Joe was just too strong in those days. Alan Steen's the referee. Steve Armstrong down on his knees judging. Lewis score with a back fist. Grab him, sweep him, take him down, punch. Joe Louis was an overwhelming force in those days. He was very strong, excellent technician. Had a reputation of being the bad guy. He really wasn't, but he made people think twice about him. And he sure won an awful lot of tournaments. In my opinion, probably the greatest tournament fighter of all time.
Okay, here we have some very, very early footage of full contact, of point tournaments. This is Mitch Barber on the left. I don't know who the guy is on the right. But now we have Joe Louis facing us in the black uniform. And
This
in
is
the white
1967 United States National Championships. I think Mitch Barber's 17 years old here.
This is at the Washington, D.C.?
D.C. Armory.
And who's the guy in the white karate uniform?
Johnny Woolley there. He's from Texas, I think. And he's a pretty little scrappy fighter. The problem here, he was a lightweight champion that day, and I don't think they should have, like in the old days, he used to match the lightweight and the middleweight and heavyweights against each other, and I just didn't think a lightweight's got a chance. Basically what he was doing is trying to be aggressive, move around a lot, stay out of my line of fire, and every time he'd move, I'd just stick my counter defensive side kick out and he'd run into it.
Which tournament is this in the United States for you? Is this the first one?
I was the defending champion here.
So this, okay.
This is the second year I came back to defend my national title.
So this film was 25 years old.
Today it's almost 25.
Actually, it goes back to the beginning of the point tournaments. Majors.
Some of the earlier things that I'm wearing one of those old dark black heavyweight Tokaido gis. I don't know why. I think I had competed in kata that night, and I did an old Seisan Okinawan kata, and I wanted it to pop, and I'd been working out with Nishiyama on Olympic Boulevard out in Los Angeles, and I was trying to convert some of the Okinawan moves into a Japanese-looking style, because I thought the Japanese moves looked a lot more fluid. Even the Japanese goju looks prettier to me than the Okinawan goju.
They look a little stronger too.
Like when they throw a front kick, they throw a front thrust kick, and they kind of pivot the hips a little more, into it a little more, and they kind of lock the knee out. Whereas the Okinawans don't use the hips when they kick, and they snap all the kicks. They don't really thrust with the front kick. He's a scrappy little devil there.
Yeah, you can tell he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up.
Almost looks like you got color here, doesn't it? A little red in there.
Actually, this is color film.
Yeah, I can tell.
But they're so little light. This is, here you are in your, on the left here in the black uniform, fighting Jerry Bumgarden on the right. It's a guy I used to train with.
1967 California State Championship
in Sacramento. I used to spar with the guy in the white.
Sacramento? No, this was in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, this is the state championships.
Yeah. Actually, in that day, 66, 67, 68, the California State Championships was a big national tournament. This is
Right.
Frank Noel, who was Funio DeMuro's top black belt. I got him a side kick. Now I come back with a low side kick, double up, low side kick, high side kick. Watch it. Low side kick, then high side kick. Double up. 1, 2, boom. No, I went to his head first and back to his stomach. He would lean away, maybe miss the first side kick, and he started to come back forward. And this is Steve LaBounty.
Right? Steve LaBounty.
It's a big old boy.
And what year was this state championships?
Same 1967. This is my third match. I was just basically working a sidekick, and I was studying the Okinawa taste system there. It was a Chinese type system out of Hawaii. Whatever school I was training, I always fly the colors. I was going to reverse punch.
You mentioned earlier that this California State Championship in San Francisco was a big tournament, and it was. I won that as a brown belt in 1968. It was exciting. This is you fighting Mitch Barbaro. Barbaro. Ed Parker's the referee.
Big Ed.
Big Ed. Making his Ed Parker movements as he comes in there. Very Ed Parker distinctive movements.
You see that Kempo patch on his chest there, and you go by the museum behind Elvis Presley's house there in the Graceland, and you see that patch on Elvis Presley's guitar, yeah. Also, you see the black belt certificate that Ed Parker gave him. See there, Ed, we plugged you.
This is again at the DC Nationals.
Mm-hmm. Mitch and I fought 3 times. He was young here, and
It's a pretty good kicks, looks like.
yeah, he's one of Kyowa Kim's black belts. And a lot of people thought Kyowa Kim's fighters were some of the best Korean fighters on the East Coast, if not the best.
Are you among them?
Yeah,
I think that.
Of course, I thought he had some good guys. He went for quality rather than quantity. Mitch wasn't used to the inside stuff. He wore a necklace that night, and I grabbed his necklace and ripped it off, during the match. And so, Okinawan styles, we grab a lot of trapping and grabbing. And over there, if you wore a long sleeve gi, we would grab the gi below the elbow and try to throw you down. and that's just the way it was. And we also did a lot of sweeping, but some of these tournaments don't like sweeps because they can't tell a sweep from a leg kick. And I used to love to sweep the man's leg, come right back with a side kick, and then grab him, throw him down, and hit him on the ground. They didn't like that stuff.
That's one of my favorite moves. I used to enjoy grabbing the guy. I felt I had better control over him, grab him and punch.
Some tournaments they don't
Frowned upon quite a bit.
Some of these tournaments don't let you do that. So all those guys got to do is throw a kick and then hit the ground, and you can't score any kind of a counter against him.
Now we go into a full contact fight that took place in Hawaii. In what year?
1975. Just making
And who are you fighting here? Do you remember? He was a Marine, wasn't he?
Yes, it's a kid in the Marines. I read something in a magazine he wrote after this fight. Just a couple of years ago, it said it. The referee was trying to break us up, and I hit him.
And knocked him down.
Well, that's what he says, but...
Well, I guess we can just take a look here and see what really happened.
I didn't hit him when the referee was breaking us up. I just remember him being down on his knees and he's holding his head and crying. I don't remember me hitting him.
Actually crying?
Yeah, it kind of surprised me. He's bigger than I was, and it's...
Well, that's what we like, tough guys.
Yeah. He's having trouble. That's when that contact gear was first coming out, and they're making us fight with that foam stuff on, which is very dangerous, and both dangerous to the target as well as to the weapon being used to hit the target. I hadn't trained for this fight, so what I was trying to do is get it over in a hurry, and I was just smothering his kicks, getting inside, just trying to hit him with a hand and get the fight over with. I don't think it lasted but about a minute.
Well, let's see what happens here. See, the referee's breaking you up. I don't see anybody hitting him. Let's see what happens in this clash.
Okay, then we jam again. I think I got a left hook and a right hand. Can't remember this fight. I was on my honeymoon there. I just gotten married, I think, 2 days before the fight. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Him fight on my honeymoon. Talk like there is a right
Wait a minute,
hand,
here he is.
right
He's
hand.
getting hit. He got hit. He dropped. The referee
Then
steps
the
in
referees.
now. No, he did not get hit as the referee was breaking you up.
Well, you know, your memory goes after I hit you. You know how it is.
Here's Joe Rubio again.
Yep, sure is. Oh my goodness.
And this is an exhibition fight in Toronto, Ontario with you and Wally Slokey.
That was on national television up in Canada. We were supposed to fight 3 rounds. And then before the fight, the promoter and Wally Slokey come over to me and said they just want to make it an exhibition. I said, an exhibition? They said, well, Joe, we'd like to get the airtime in. And they said, would you take it easy on him for 2 rounds, and then if you two want to go for it, you go for it in the 3rd round. So I said, fine. That's why I look so lackadaisical.
No equipment on the feet again, as we can see.
No, and then right at the beginning of the 2nd round, he throws a front kick. It brushes right up the side of my face. If I hadn't moved, he would have taken my head off. So I knew he wasn't doing anything like an exhibition. So he had broken his word. So I just went after him and knocked him out. Said, heck with it. If I can't trust you, you know. I just moved around making him miss, making him miss. His skills weren't that developed at this time. Later he fought Jeff Smith a couple of times for the light heavyweight championship of the world. The thing I didn't like about this is I actually knocked him out twice in this fight. And he and his business partners advertised in the major Toronto, Canada newspaper for almost 2 years after this fight that he had actually fought me to a draw.
Our story tonight is about a character, a rather famous named character in Joe Louis. No, it's not the Joe Louis that we know, the bronze bomber. This Joe Louis is from Los Angeles, California. He's arrogant. He idolizes Muhammad Ali. He can kill a man with one blow. He's really a rebel in every sense of the word. He has as his pupils movie stars in Hollywood, California, and he's fighting Wayne Slokey, the best Canada has to offer. And if you don't believe me that Joe Louis is good, listen to what Joe has to say about himself.
Mr. Slokey has not done anything like before.
here I am on the right fighting Ron Black Dragon Van Cleve.
That's the guy that did all those movies you see down on the 42nd Street in New York.
Right. This is the same tournament that you fought those other guys in, the DC Nationals, 71.
He must have got a lot of experience out of this fight. I think he's a 10th degree now, right?
I think so. So tell me what you see here.
You're trying to relax, make you play your distance. When you put your left side forward, I always know you're coming in with that punch. When your right side forward, I know you're going through that back knuckle, that right leg side kick. Sure enough. There you're stepping back, trying to stay out of range. Trying to get him to come first, firing that defensive counter right side kick. I don't know, so I know you wiped the blood off your hands real fast there, Jay.
Yeah. This is at the Grand Nationals. That's me on the left and John Norman from Chicago on the right.
So you know these guys.
Yeah, there's Tadashi Yamashita, official there behind John Norman in the white karate uniform.
I'm sure some people see this old vintage footage and they'll recognize their instructors or somebody else in the background.
Right. There's Joe Lewis.
Right behind you,
Standing
right on
right
your
there.
left elbow.
Yeah.
There I stand.
The guy who used to beat me up, Ray Klingenberg.
Standing tall.
Ridgely
bright
Abel
you.
on the left.
It almost looked like old Kang Lee there at first, didn't it? One of the judges.
Yeah, it did.
That was George Yarnell in the background.
Yes, it
wasn't
was. Taking pictures.
Bob Yarnell's wife from St. Louis.
Right.
And coming to a side kick, followed through reverse punch. Gee, you look real skinny in those days. I bet you people won't recognize you. But
Yeah, they
still,
probably
you're over
won't.
200 pounds there.
Yeah, I weighed 202.
Most of them in the legs, I guess, from playing footballs at San Jose State.
Right. There's Joe Lewis checking it out there.
Yes.
Back fist time. Yeah.
Aw. Why do you always hide your hand after the back fist?
Good question.
Make referees think, gee, what was that? Oh, it must have been a kick. I'll give him the point.
There you are, and Joe Lewis and Ray Klingenberg sitting on the floor between us. I can't remember this guy's name on the right.
What area was he from?
He's from the Youngstown area.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Right. There's Danny Pye there in the white gi. One of the officials.
Now, this was your camera shooting this vintage
Right. This
footage?
is the same tournament where you fought Bill Wallace and Victor Moore. There's Glenn Keeney in the background there.
Shame. Who was holding the camera?
I don't remember.
Chuck Norris or somebody?
No, I don't think it was Chuck North.
He never competed in this tournament, did he?
I don't remember him ever fighting in this one. He sure, he won a bunch of them, but I don't remember him being at the Grand Nationals.
I remember Bruce Lee used to come to the Nationals, but that was because he was a good friend of June Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Ed Parker got Robert Culp to come to the Nationals. Matter of fact, the first time I won him in 1966. All the stars got up on stage. I thought I was in Hollywood. And I was still in the Marine Corps. I was going back home to sleep on my bunk bed. Those cats were going back to Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a pretty big audience back there in that gymnasium.
Yeah, that gymnasium it's a high
That
school gym.
Fred Wren down there on the floor there.
I think it was, yeah. I don't know who this guy is. It's some Okinawan stylist. There's John Pachivas over on the far left-hand side. He's out of sight now. There's Bill Wallace and Fred Wren there in the corner.
Yep. In the left-hand corner.
Mm-hmm.
Back in those days, you never knew who you were going to see at a tournament.
Yeah, all the big ones came out
Yeah.
for the for the big tournaments.
And a lot of the big names died out, and a lot of the nobodies became famous.
Yeah.
How could you guys fight with all that commotion going on in the background over there?
It's kind of distracting, but actually I don't remember it happening. You get tuned into the fight, you don't really pay much attention.
It is when you marched without
Mm-hmm.
the mustaches.
Right.
You went to Japan and did a couple of films over there, I guess low-budget films, and I guess they had him grow that Fu Manchu mustache.
Yeah, he was out
Was
of
that a
Milwaukee at
side-
that time.
Oh, he
He was a sidekick. He was living in Milwaukee at that time.
Yeah, you can tell some of the fighters have come a long way since those days. Oh, look at him, don't get hurt. There's Joyce over there with her camera. I
Ever?
imagine she's got a large library of old
Yeah, she's got
photos.
a fantastic library of photo of all the old fighters. There's Randy Webb is one of the judges,
It is.
in the black uniform on the left, on her back fist. And this is the final fight for the heavyweight division against Dirk Mozik.
He's out of
Florida.
Was
Wasn't
it Gainesville or someplace?
Somewhere in Florida, I don't know where.
Uh,
Big guy, but he could get those legs up in the air. Had to chase him around a little bit too. He was hard to score on.
he was one of the top USK fighters back then. those
Yeah, he
days,
was.
wasn't
He ended up losing to Victor Moore for first place after this match here, and Victor Moore went on to fight you for the grand champion. Had I won this match, I'd have been fighting Victor Moore. No such luck that day.